All right, Dr. Kublik, shall I begin?
No, let's wait until people enter the room. We are live right now, and we are also being recorded. So it's 9:17, and folks will come in at 9:20.
I'll just get some more water so
or-
I can stay hydrated
yeah.
while I dance.
Right.
You guys should do the same. Have some water just to be on this.
Okay. They can edit those pieces out when. Okay. Francesca. He needs to go ahead with his presentation even if we don't have anyone to enter the room. Well, we know at least it'll be his mother. That's what he said, right?
I think it says on the instructions we want to wait until a reasonable number of attendees are in.
Okay. When I'm looking at the network and host instructions, I don't remember. I'm not looking at anything that says if you don't have any attendings, what to do. So I'm thinking since it's being recorded, it can be used for later educational purposes.
Yeah.
So I would think that he would go ahead with his presentation just as if there was anybody, and then I would pose a question.
Yeah, I think we should just give it a few and
Okay.
wait to see who joins.
Okay, it's 9:19 right now. We should be.
One of the Q&A questions just popped in. Oh, it's just the IDC. Kelly's wrapping up.
Okay, we have.
Is currently disabled.
Okay. Okay. I'm showing 3 co-hosts and 1 host.
Well, you're the host currently.
Yes, I'm the primary host. There's 3 co-hosts, but
So that means me, Miss Zinkovich, and Mr. Syed.
Yes. Okay, we have attendees in. So for those of you who are just joining us, I want to welcome you, and we will start in about 1 minute.
Counting down from 60 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, we see folks piling in. We'll start at 9:22. We're at 9:21 right now.
Yeah, let's give everyone a little extra time just to be on the safe side.
We've got 11 folks in the queue right now.
990.
11. We have 11 attendees at this point.
Do we want to wait till 20?
Okay. So at 9:25, we will begin. We're about 13, a total of 18 in right now. We're starting 1 minute. Okay. All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Neurodiversity Summit, Wired for Success. I'm Dr. Ken Coopwood. I am hosting this session, and today's this 9:20 session is entitled Graduating from College, Succeeding in Employment and the Importance of Community Engagement. Our speaker this morning is Mr. Eren Niederhoffer, and Mr. Niederhoffer is a multi-year autism advocate, and he is also a volunteer at the business school at Marshall University. He is a social media analyst and researcher for financial advisors and small business owners. He also seeks to continually improve his skills to remain useful in our complex world. Good morning, Mr. Niederhoffer, and you have the screen.
Testing 1, 2. Good morning, everyone. My name is Eren Niederhoffer. It is so good to have you all here today. Now, I can appreciate the reason many of you have come here. A lot of you in the neurodiverse community know that you have talents, you have skills, you have abilities, but more importantly, you have the desire to take on skilled work, employment, and opportunities that are work that allow you to go for further in life. The problem is you want people to be able to acknowledge you. You want people to be willing to give you those opportunities, and you want to improve yourself to reach them. I am taking my personal experience from over 10 years of mistakes, lessons, and successes, and I will share them with you today to see if the path you can build on your own will lead you to where you wish to go today. Dr. Coopwood, Ms. Zinkovich, thank you both so much for helping me. I think it's time we got started. I'm going to share the screen momentarily, so just give me 1 minute. Here we are. All right. Just a reminder that questions sent to our chat room will be answered after each workshop segment. We'll start with before entering the college and workforce, so high school. Just a starting point, and this will be one of the seed questions we'll be giving out. Given that we sometimes struggle with communication, a lot of us may look to fictional media like cartoons, comics, anime, video game, and the like. I just want to make sure that it's established that the real world does not behave or interact like it does there. So you'll want to just be able to ask to know what is appropriate. Because in addition to getting a job, holding on to it will be equally difficult. And so by having the appropriate behavior in and outside of the workforce, you'll do well. And that's something to keep in mind. Your behavior outside the workforce and in college will be just as important as in. So, well, first step, interacting with people whenever possible. I originally would only use lunchtime at the cafeterias to work on my homework or classwork. I never interacted with people. After an elderly couple on the spectrum tried to encourage me to step outside my comfort box, I tried interacting with different groups in the cafeteria lunch tables. This would involve things like just simply listening in, observing, or asking questions. A lot of people appreciate those showing interest in their interests. And if you're willing to ask them those questions in an appropriate manner, it will actually help you gain their respect, their interest, and their willingness to engage with you. And by them engaging with you, you will begin to pick up those skills. I should mention that not everyone is willing to tell us where we went wrong on a communication mistake. So if you're able to earn the respect of others, should you slip up, and you will slip up, they will at least be willing to be kind enough to explain why. And what's more important than picking oneself up after making a mistake is learning where we went wrong. So long as we can examine our actions or have people point out to us where we can improve, that is just as important. To quote the Magic School Bus, if you don't succeed, find out why. And that why will serve you well. Next, after school activities. In college, this will also be the case, but in school, it'll be a good chance to get started trying some after school clubs or trying to find activities after school that allow you to expand your interests and find opportunities to work with people. Life after high school is one big network. It varies how much networking you have to do, but at the end of the day, you will need to know people and know how to interact with them. For me, I actually did try the anime clubs. It wasn't that big, but it taught me a bit about understanding other people's interests, respecting other people's points of view, etc. You don't have to do tons of stuff. Just one will be enough to help you through. Then finally, the expanding of your palette, your expanding of interests. Nobody is saying that your interests don't matter, professionally or otherwise. But to make the most out of your experiences with other people, it will do you a bit of good to learn about other people's, to get to know other people's interests so that when you interact with different people, it will aid you in getting them interested in yours. This also opens the door for you, metaphorically speaking, to be given the opportunities to go have friends join you in your interests. This type of expanding of your interest will also allow you to take on new tasks and roles in the workplace by allowing you to have an open mind. And an open mind is a wonderful tool and strength to have. Moving forward. Let's see here. There we go. All right, upon entering college, the skills that you learn in college will help you in employment. Base groups, math, research, networking, they will teach you a bit about that. Your reading and writing skills, the like. College will be a place to learn and to apply them. So there will always be those opportunities, which is honestly quite good. The study groups and clubs. Unfortunately, in my personal experience, grades alone won't be enough. Whether it's a business major, a biology major, even an art major, study groups and college clubs will give you the assistance in completing certain projects, certain research, or certain interests. They can also be a great place for you to just take a reprieve from your workload and school workload, just to have somebody to talk to, somebody to confide in. It's amazing how much lighter the load can be when you have somebody to talk about. And being there for somebody else will be the same thing. Now, Jim, in my personal experience, I found that physical fitness has actually helped me when it comes to the workforce. The strength I've built gives me confidence. And confidence is a great tool to have, not only in interviews, but just in your everyday life. The new physique you build, it'll save you a lot of money on clothes that you're wearing for the place, and you'll look great doing it. But also, it gives you a bit of a routine that you can apply yourself towards, a routine that can serve you in the workforce, and it gives you a lot of energy to a point where you may not need coffee anymore, potentially. As with sitting with people at the high school cafeteria, sitting with people at the food court is the next step where you can sit with different groups of people, pick up those new skills, interact, learn about good social etiquette, the likes. It goes a long way. And while you will make mistakes, a person that is willing to learn and willing to accept feedback will make a positive impression on a lot of the people around you, and they will be willing to give you those chances. That I can promise you. Friends open doors to things you never knew existed. I would not be here today had I not helped a group of people. I am here today because at least 7 years ago, I picked up a 6-inch Google tablet from a Kroger discount section, handed it to my life coach, who introduced me to a professional self-advocate, who introduced me to Georgia State University's advocacy group, that introduced me to other people, which led me to here. Helping one person leads to helping others, and it can set off opening of different doors. But everything started because I made friends. And you can do that same thing. You can be the change in other people's life. It's a give and take. It's a community. It's an ecosystem. That is friendship. Everyone supporting each other and helping each other up. I do want to mention one more thing before we move to the next slide. Don't hesitate to change your major if needed. I originally started off in accounting because I didn't want to socialize. I didn't have the best skills in communication. But as I grew, I realized I could try other opportunities. Well, that, and let's just say the teachers weren't the best. There is no shame in changing your major to something that you feel you can do. You shouldn't feel pressured to focus on one particular major if it feels like the other ones are possible to be accomplished. That is why I'm a finance major instead of an accounting major. It can change. And the important thing is life will give you opportunities for change. So as you go through college and you're preparing to leave it to join the workforce, here are some things that I found in my experience can be a resource. I don't know how college textbooks are these days, but converting your paper notes into digital form to save for the future may actually help you not only in the workforce, but in helping other people. The skills you've gained in college, whether networking professionally or even socially, there's websites like Meetup. There are conventions. Georgia has so many conventions that you can just try out for one thing or another. There's Dragon Con, Anime Week in Atlanta, so many things where you can meet new people. And the skills you learned in networking business-wise can assist you just as much as networking in a business luncheon, a professional event, etc. But I will always advocate, continue to build and nurture friendships. Networking and friendships, it's an ecosystem. So long as you maintain that ecosystem with others, others will maintain that with you. And it will help you as much as it helps them. Never stop trying to learn what is appropriate and what is not. Because learning that etiquette will assist you in maintaining those jobs, and people will assist you as well. It's not going to be easy making those mistakes or having to learn all those new things, but it will have such a payoff. Finally, never stop trying to improve or learn. Our brain is 8 pounds of gray fat and matter. But as long as you are always trying to learn new things, improve new things, or pick up new interests, it's always going to be that. It's always going to be muscle. I'll give you that. And you will learn so much, be able to do so much. All it takes is just a little risk to fly. And I will say this, things will always seem hard. The world is not an easy place. That's one thing my father did teach me. But while it may not be fair, if I could go back to my younger self as a teen and say one thing to him, I would say it will get better. There's always a chance for a brighter tomorrow. There are good people in this world, in this state, in the communities. And as long as you are a good person too, you will become the change you wish to see in the world around you. People are kind. They will be kind, and they will be kind to you. Don't let the difficulties of the world break you. You are better than that. Other people will give you chances, be willing to help you, and be part of your life. And if you can do the same for them, that ecosystem, that community, that commonality, you will both benefit. I can promise you, you will find happiness and success, trying new things, helping other people. The world may be difficult, the workforce may be difficult, but that doesn't mean it has to be that way for you or that you have to be. I have found so many good people from all stages of my life, from a child to an adult. And whenever things have seemed impossible, those people were willing to offer me a hand. Those people were willing to offer me a suggestion and support. I am where I am today, not just because I was willing to step outside my comfort zone, try new things and learn, but because there were good people in that community. And I did my same for them and lifted them up just as they lifted me. That I can promise you. With that being said, now we're going to talk about the workforce. Networking. Atlanta is a hub. There are so many opportunities everywhere. And the same for Georgia itself. We've got how many counties? There are chambers of commerce. There are Rotary clubs. There are conventions. There are community centers. There are so many places you can start. It is a beautiful opportunity to be in Georgia, though the rent could use some work. So, suggestion of ideas that led to success at job. I will point out that trying new things will give you an interesting opportunity. When you go for certain interviews, I recommend not only researching the job at hand and talking about what you researched to your potential employer, but also mentioning what ideas you have for your job. When I first got started at my current company, from a man named Mike Kipnis, I was originally going to be for a summer internship, but having researched the job, I mentioned what work I had done with disability links, employment opportunity, my skill with research, with spreadsheets, with analysis, and how I had helped build some programs. And so he was willing to give me a job in data analysis for him. There was the problem, though. What you guys will have the lucky enough to do is that to keep the professional Behavior. I was not professional, did not have the professional etiquette, and nearly got fired. So what I will warn you of is socializing is okay in like a break room near the water cooler, but don't do it around the office itself. That would be considered disruptive and take away from productivity. That's what nearly got me fired had I not learned to improve that behavior and improve myself. Always find new ways to be useful. That is one thing I will always say. That you are hired not to punch in a clock from 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 and keep working until it's time to leave. Your job is to bring value to the company, to the nonprofit, etc. So as long as you are bringing in that value, they will always have a need for you. If you were able to find new ways to be of value, this can start as early as the interview itself. And suggesting that to the employer will have them have their reason to keep you around. That will assist you in the retention. Back to the part about the networking, I will definitely say this. It's not just what you know, but who you know. By interacting with different communities, building those friendships, being a part of that ecosystem, people will be able to refer you to employment opportunities through the networkers, the job coaches, and the recruiters that they know. This may be a bit biased on my end, but I have not found job websites to be as effective as networking itself. Knowing people, knowing agencies, that will actually help you get your foot through the door. It's going to be a bit of a process. You may not necessarily find a job immediately after college. The networking takes time, but it is a transition. And it is a building of that part in the community and your part in it. Here's going to be the tricky part, the comfort zone. Stepping outside the comfort zone will benefit you in the workforce. Like I said, trying new things, trying to find different ways to be of value. It may seem stressful, it may seem difficult, and it is, but it will bring you benefit down the road. Engaging with people. Now, we're not saying your coworkers or your friends or family. They're your coworkers first and foremost. But building a good professional relationship with them benefits you both in being able to help each other, lift each other up in achieving the tasks in the workforce, just as it did in college and in high school. Maintain exercise. It will give you energy to accomplish the tasks. It will help you keep routine, and it will give you strength of mind. Trying new things when given, your employers may ask you to take on tasks that weren't originally in the job description. This will help you in future jobs, it will help you in your current job, and it will help you just expand your mind for different activities. It will help you, of course, maintain value. Remember how I had encouraged you guys to ask for help with other people when you're in college, or speak up asking questions to understand things? When in college, asking for help from your supervisor or your coworkers, or speaking up about issues you're facing, there is no shame in asking for help. It is a strength to be willing to ask for others for assistance. It is not a weakness. The workforce is a community, and asking for help or helping others in said community is a necessity. It will help you out, and it will help others out. I don't blame you for being nervous about those things. I've been as well. But everything is better when you take that first step to ask for help, and your feelings will be validated about it. I promise you that. Now, as for what I do, lead generation. So I assist my boss and his team by helping them find people that they have commonalities with. Networking is about finding people who need something and finding how you can provide that thing for them, whether you have it or whether you know someone who does have it, and then connecting them. By putting that through social media, I am able to help my company meet with others. I've actually helped my boss meet with billionaires. Actually, rather proud of that one. Research. Not every employee or employer has the time during the day to find out specific information or knows how to obtain certain information. My skill is to provide them all of that info while they're working and give it to them so that they can have it arranged in a organized manner to use to add value to the company or increase the value that they are providing. For the computer software, there is so many programs, coding, technology, hardware these days that perform certain tasks, but they all cost money. What I do is help people save money by providing the manual labor version of a number of those tasks. And I also try working with the team to think outside the box to offer solutions in terms of different approaches to solving certain problems in the workforce. You may find yourself doing something similar, you may find yourself doing something different, but I can guarantee you, if you can make it into skilled employment, the job will not bore you, hopefully, probably. I kept emphasizing this, asking for help. Even though it's not a weakness, it's a strength. It's still one of the hardest things to do. There's nothing ventured, nothing gained. But a lot of times you find yourself in a situation where you're not sure what to do. You're not sure if you're doing it right, or a number of other factors. Asking for clarification, asking for understanding, asking for suggestions. All these fall under asking for help, and they are valid things to do because you're wanting to help out. You're wanting to do the right thing. You're wanting to add the value. The supervisor, HR departments, it's even some coworkers can provide that assistance. We can't accomplish everything on our own. That's not how our brains are wired, neurodiverse or neurotypical. We need assistance one way or the other. We need guidance and we need support. And being willing to ask for that support and being able to ask for it appropriately is going to help all of us. It's helped me and it will help you. And as long as you're willing to give that asking for help a try, I promise you, you will move forward. The final notes. I believe we got this far early, so we'll have extra room for questions. Always be prepared for different opportunities to come your way and be open for change. Life is not a straight road. It has its curves, it has its turns, it has its obstacles, it has doors. There will always be something coming your way that will change you and the road you take. And as long as you're always willing to learn and try new things, life will be so rich and amazing. You will find happiness and you will find success by following that path that works for you. It won't be easy. It won't be simple. But I can promise you that as long as you're willing to try, as long as you're willing to ask for help, to try new things, to try to build yourself up, and by helping, just as you'll be helping others, others can help you. It will get better. Life is not going to be a bad situation. There will always be a silver lining in the cloud. There will always be sunshine coming through. And there will always be good people willing to help. I know all of you have come across bad people in your life who've made life difficult for you. And I can say I have come across so many in all forms. But just as there have been a lot of bad people, there are so many more good people out there. And they are willing to lend a hand to you, just as you can be willing to lend a hand to them. We're all in this together. And I want to see all of you succeed because I believe you can do so much. There's so much you can do. There's so much people can help you do. And I am so grateful that you have let me come to all of you today to try helping you. And I just hope that what I've provided today can help you on your path to life, to success, to happiness. You will get there. I promise you. It's all up to you. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Mr. Denver Niederhoffer, and thank you all for listening in. We do have plenty of questions, and I saw that you had your email on, so maybe we can give that email again later.
Type it in the chat, or will it be provided?
Okay, excellent. Okay, let's go to questions. And we have several here. Again, thank you for their both educational and inspirational address to the attendees. And with that, let's get into questions. First question is, how do you get into college when they require an entrance exam that is difficult to pass?
Do I click answer live?
Say again?
I have two options. Do I click answer live or do I click type answer?
Answer live. You can answer that. You can answer live.
All right. So for this question, I actually did get good grades while in high school, enough that I was able to graduate. And with a high school diploma and good grades, I was able to enter college the normal way. I just needed to get enough money for tuition. But having the grades is possible for people with neurodiversity. I will say that. I'm sure there are other approaches, but that was my approach when entering Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. Okay, the next question. Can you get your EP or high school accommodation in college so you can be successful in your classes? So as long as you have a letter from your doctor or psychologist establishing that you have a disability that requires accommodations, something like extended time for tests, or for example, being able to take your test in an empty classroom. Those can be examples. Those are what I had that I was able to get from my classes themselves. Next up, any recommendations to find people like me when first starting college? So one of the reasons I went to Marshall was because it had an autism program. There are autism programs in Georgia, Georgia State University, Georgia Tech, Emory. But one of the things I would do when looking into different colleges is see if they have a special needs program or a special needs office or department, because those will be of use to you and your family when trying to help set up accommodations, trying to have someone help you with your task load, or trying to find your pace while in college. Marshall University has what I would say one of the best autism programs out there this side of the states, and it played a huge role in my development. I don't think I would be where I am today without a lot of the effort from there. Next question. Where did you learn professional etiquette? Is there a class? There are classes. I didn't take them, but if you can find them, I heavily recommend them. I was taught professional etiquette thanks to Briggs and Associates, which is also a special needs employment agency, and Disability Link, also a special needs employment agency, both of which assist people in transitioning to the workforce. So there are job employment agencies in Georgia, just as there are for other states across the country, which help special needs individuals seeking employment. I unfortunately had to learn professional etiquette through mistakes that I made. I was lucky enough, thanks to job coaches and a very kind and understanding employer, that I was given a second chance and I was guided through avoiding them. But I will say, always ask questions and try to make sure, ask your coworkers or your supervisor if you're not sure whether a behavior is acceptable or not. Like I said at the beginning, don't treat life like it's the fictional media. I will definitely say that. All right, let's see. There were some questions in the chat. Also, those were all great questions. Seriously, great job, guys. Can you tell us about a time where you faced a challenge and were able to overcome it using some of the strategies you shared today? As I mentioned, I was originally going to be hired by my employer for data analysis. Due to my mistakes with professional etiquette, I was nearly fired. I was able to overcome it by taking on some of the current tasks he had given me at the time and finding solutions to turn them into value, trying new things, suggesting ways that value could be added. Thanks to that, I was able to hold on to my job for 10 years now. There have been cases, if I recall correctly, there was a case of an individual with Down syndrome who had suggested a means at his current job of how to add value to the company. A niche job was created for him, just as one was created for me. And thanks to that, that individual was able to become one of the best employees at the company. Always look for ways to be of value. And I can assure you, if you make a few mistakes here or there, it will save you. And also always maintain the friendships or the positive working relationships. Do you have any experience with internships and how those might help towards preparation for career? The internships will definitely help you with professional etiquette, with routine, with learning new skills, and they will also teach you in asking for help and being able to pick up new skills and see how certain jobs work. Let me see, there were a few other questions. More of what I do professionally. I think I already explained that in the PowerPoint. I have tried other types of jobs. Outside of my current employment, I try contracting with people in different service industries to see how my researching and lead generation can assist them in growing their business or adding value. Unfortunately, in this economy, you may need to work a second job or you may need to consult. But it's always a good opportunity to try to see where you can be of assistance outside of work. Your skills may serve you outside the workplace. Always try to be useful. I will say one thing about internships. Even if they're non-paid, you should still keep them on your resume. You should actually have several different types of resumes, in fact, for different fields, for different employment opportunities, for different companies. Try to have three jobs on your resume. These can be volunteers that you've done while in high school, maybe an internship or two that you've done in college or even outside of college, but have at least three. Have three top skills that you have shown the ability to add value, and have a reference from someone who is not family that can speak for you. It's not just what you've done at the job, it's that you've done something that benefited others. The internships will give you the opportunity to do so, and they can provide you with doors to actual jobs. And what's also great, they can give you the opportunity to show on your resume that you've given value in one degree or another. It's a ladder, but fortunately, it's a safe ladder that's easier to climb. Still a bit stressful though. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, we have another question that I received. Again, it seems the attendees are getting much value from your presentation, and you can tell by so many questions that have come up already. But here's another, and I think you could.
If you guys are nervous about asking questions now or have a question later, my email will be provided to all of you. So you can all email me after this session, after today, with whatever questions you have. You shouldn't feel embarrassed if you're not able to ask the question now. I will be available afterwards. Is that correct, Dr. Poopwood?
That is very correct. And I see that Dana Rainey, that you raised your hand. So if you would put your question in the chat or in the Q&A, we'll be happy to address that question if you haven't done so already. If you have, just go ahead and click that hand button so it'll go down. Okay. Here's one. Go ahead. You see it?
I see one from Emily. Where was Dana's?
Yeah, I see Emily says, can you explain what lead generation is and what is data mining? Data mining, you see that one?
Okay, so data mining will be, let's put it this way. Let's say you have a spreadsheet that is basically a chart. You have a list of information on people, different information about said people, potential clients, potential companies. There's a bit of data in each column. Now, by itself, it's not meaning anything. But what if you organize that data so that you could see certain patterns with the information? Whether their location, as compared the chart, their column containing their location, compared to income level or age group or number of employees. Data mining is basically looking at charts or readings of information and finding patterns with that data that would basically allow you to suggest approaches to your employer, supervisor, or workforce for ways to increase value, decrease costs, come up with new programs or approaches to make money, save money, or accomplish activities. When I was with my internship, a now closed down nonprofit called CFII, I looked at spreadsheets. My job was to input information into spreadsheets and update them. But I came up with the idea of looking at these spreadsheets by reorganizing the columns or grouping them in patterns so I could find information with them. Thanks to that, I was able to help them save money or come up with new programs that would allow them to get more funding from the government. So data mining in its purest form, coming up with new information from existing information that generates value. As for the lead generation, it's basically taking the approach of cold calling or marketing and finding who you want to market or talk sales with. Finding people that fit the bill, so to speak, for the sales professionals and marketing professionals to reach out to, and helping find a way to get them. So what was Dana's question?
She did not put it in, so I don't see it. But certainly, if you want to put that question in, Dinah, please do, and we'll get to it. And meanwhile, I know you alluded to this earlier in your presentation, but in terms of the attendees being aware that communication behavior in fictional media is not to be confused with real life behavior in the workplace. Can you explain how those behaviors can become confused, how fictional communication can be confused with real life behavior?
A lot of you, for me, autism is a bit of a communication disorder, so I may not grasp social cues. And a lot of people may not have experience interacting with other people or picking up on those cues. So we may often, as a child or growing up, look at fictional media and see that as the example of how to behave, because nobody seems to be willing to teach us how to behave properly. And we may try to emulate those behaviors because nobody taught us otherwise. Often we try to ask other people, how should we behave? What are we supposed to say or do? And they may unfortunately say, you already know. You should already know. I don't have to tell you. And that can be really frustrating. Not having somebody explain to us what to do, what not to do, what are the things to say, what are not to say. And often people turn to fictional media because it seems like that gives them the idea. As long as we have people who are willing to tell us what to say or do, to be willing to explain things to us, we won't be making those mistakes. Does that assist in things, Dr. Coopwood?
Yes, that does answer that question. And thank you. I've got some others have come in as well. One,
thank you so much for your excellent questions. Those were great.
Okay, thank you. There, we have another question that just came up. Do you have any recommendations for adults recently diagnosed with ASD that, while we learn from mistakes over the years, still struggle with balancing work and personal relationships? So recommendations for adults recently diagnosed with ASD that they've learned from mistakes over the years, but still struggle with balancing work and personal relationships.
Thanks, Anand. I will definitely say that is a fantastic question. And for me, that was something I struggled with. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. How do I type the answer question live? It says you would like to answer this question live, Dr. Coopwood.
Yes. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. That was me.
I had
button mishap.
I had mentioned that meetup groups for the autism community exist, and those will be of other people on the spectrum that can be of assistance who have shared experiences, or you can share ideas with. There is on Reddit, there are autism subreddit groups where you can ask these questions and other people with experience can provide advice. There are Facebook groups where you can ask these questions and others can provide advice. But I will definitely say looking for groups and different places to ask for help. And the asking for help will be the best part. Balancing work and personal relationships. I would say there are several networking groups or social media groups that can provide that in the business sector, that of people with experience in those matters. For me, trying to set up a schedule or routine, trying to decide what social activities you would like to participate in and which ones you should cut out, you will have to balance that. But that is just seriously, what a wonderful question. The personal relationship. I was in a personal relationship for some time. I respected the person's work schedule and they learned to respect mine. It's an 8 to 4, 9 to 5. They have to understand that you will not always be available to answer the phone with them while you're on company time. So that will be part of it. Dr. Coopwood, what have you found in your experience, actually? I'm curious.
Well, in my experience, there are so many diverse circumstances that contribute to a person's ability to navigate, and not just to get to school, but to get through school. And to do that effectively, oftentimes, as you mentioned, you have to be cognizant of where your allies are throughout the infrastructure of any institution or company. And then you have to begin to build those safe spaces and strong spaces throughout the institution or company. So you want to find places where you can go just to be yourself without judgment, without ridicule, and you can get constructive feedback on how well you're doing and where you want to go. But at the same time, you also want to have opportunities to grow beyond who you are. And you have to find places and spaces throughout institutions and companies to do that as well. So that's where it's more tricky in terms of building your network, because you want that network to be people who have skills that you don't have, and have capacities and abilities that you would like to acquire. So that's where you're more vulnerable, you see. But as you mentioned, you have to be courageous. You have to have a belief in yourself. And it's got to be strong enough, where you're going to go in and say, hey, I may be a 6 out of 10 today, but watch for me next week and you'll see a 10 out of 10. So
Found exercise and the ability to ask for help a lot in both of those factors.
absolutely. Absolutely. So another thought, I think, in terms of other questions, and I kind of alluded to it in my answer, but you talked about entryway to the collegiate environment. You talked about work navigation in the professional environment, and basically finding oneself through those major stages of life. So how do these ideas in your presentation, relate to a person's self-perception? How does it act as building blocks or stumbling blocks?
Let's take one of those, and we can
Okay.
for me, I find value by being needed by others. I find value by helping others, or as long as people are willing to engage with me, it means that I have not been offensive. It means that I am that they acknowledge me as a person and that they are willing to give me a chance. So that's one of the steps in terms of the communication. Through the workforce, being needed by your employer or coworkers, being relevant, being able to be of help means that you are of value to them. The exercise that I mentioned helps me feel better about myself. When I look in the mirror, I can see a person that has gotten where they were physically. Exercise is difficult, but it's simple. And that ability to build yourself through a simple approach helps you feel better about yourself, and other people will see that confidence or that change. But I think also the fact that other people are willing to talk about their interests, like in the social setting or college setting, means that they feel that you're somebody they can be open to. And if they're willing to learn about your interests, it means that they are willing to give you a chance to talk about what you want. So I think it's all that ecosystem of give and take, grow and help others grow.
Yes, I agree with that, and thank you for that. And you also made me think about what I call in my company, I call it the shadow culture. And the shadow culture of institutions and companies would be, for sake of this session, people who befriend you or come to you as a ally would really, but really they have ulterior motives. You know, they want to say, well, I'm diverse because I'm associated with someone who has a mental health disability or what have you. And you got to be careful when you navigate and you create those networks um, to weed out people who are assisters and resistors, or people who claim to be supportive when really they're just they're barely supplemental. They're just trying to be around you to say that they have been around. So go ahead.
So, like I said, the workforce, the community, it's an ecosystem. But while there is give and take, do not give too much of yourself.
Yes.
While you can give to lift others up, do not give so much of yourself that you weaken yourself. Do not
Yes.
do not give more than you take. And you should not take more than somebody from what you give. There needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
Dr. Cooper was discussing, they will give a little bit enough that they will. There's been people like that in college and in high school, the false friend, the person who pretends to be your friend but is just using you. There will definitely be that in the workforce. And I have come across a lot. I will say that. But it's as long as you don't give, they may try to guilt trip you. They may try, hey, buddy, pal, we're just trying to help you. Come on. Trust me. Don't. They are your coworkers, not your best buddy or your friend. You need to focus on adding value. You need to focus on being needed by the employer, by the supervisor. And you should not devote too much of yourself to someone else on that workforce. I have done a lot of different activities for my coworkers and my employer, but I do not give too much of myself out there. I focus on maintaining that balance. It may be difficult, it may feel frustrating, but it will save you in the long run. And just be careful, be alert, look for signs. Dr. Coopwood is absolutely right. There will be people like that. While it's supposed to be an ecosystem, there will be, I don't mean to use this word roughly, whatever the term is, there are parasites.
Absolutely.
You need a giver, you take because from what others give as givers, just as you give, but there will be parasites that take more. Don't use that word in the workforce, by the way. Do not. It is a concept, but there is a do and don't, and these are one of these things that you don't say. We can say it more as they try to add value by taking from others' value, something like that. But you need to focus on the value you are paid to on company time to provide. Dr. Cooper, how does that sound?
I think that is very much on point. And, and what I would add only is that people need to understand that finding that balance is a skill. And the more you practice that, the better your sense of discernment about the spirit and through which people approach you, if it's authentic or if it's self-serving. So it is a skill, and you need. We would be smart to practice that in every aspect of our work and personal lives. So moving on, we got time for one last question, and I wanted to. We talked to participants so much about what they can do, but let's take this last question and go with what are ways that everyone at the workplace or the institution, including other students, faculty, and staff, can be more inclusive of neurodivergence and the whole concept and application of neurodivergence. What would you say?
Remember how I was telling people on the spectrum about asking for help and asking about making sure what they're doing is right or wrong?
Mm.
I think what those people, the neurotypical community, can do on their end is asking if they can help,
Yeah.
ask if they have questions, just as we're doing right now. Let's pretend this isn't a discussion about neurodiversity or special needs or the workforce. Let's pretend it's just a normal conference and you're just asking questions. You folks are asking questions, we're asking questions. That's the community. That's the give and take. Just as you can ask to help or ask for help, it goes both ways. And if those students, teachers, employers, and stuff are asking if there's any questions that the diverse individual has or asking how they can help, I think that part on their end is just as good. What do you say to that, Dr. Coopwood?
Yeah, I think you're on point, and the really it begs the question is why wouldn't a person who is diverse in their neurology feel that they can get support and assistance from somebody who's different, who thinks differently and processes information differently? Why wouldn't they feel that? You know, we can get so caught up in this thing called normalcy that we feel or got to believe that if one person doesn't process information the same way we do, that it's theirs is abnormal in comparison to our own.
Well,
really, yeah.
We live in a society where everyone is expected to already have the cues, where everyone is expected to be self-sufficient or independent and expected to fit a certain role. The problem is we're not. So let me ask a question, and I don't expect an answer. I just want you guys to think, ladies, non-binary, just to think this over. What does it mean to be normal?
Great question.
So for me, I've been told what is to be normal by different people with different ideas. So different people, different communities, different societies have different ideas. So I think one of the problems we as a society have is we don't have enough people asking for help or clarification. We don't have enough people acknowledging that someone will be different. I mean, look, 2 out of 3 of us here on the video have glasses. Does that mean it's normal to wear glasses? If so, why do some people look at others differently for not wearing glasses or for wearing glasses? Let's see. What else can we give an example? Is it normal to carry a beard to work or a mustache? Are you expected to be clean shaven? I'm just going with physical examples because the behavior or cognitive is so much more different, but it's so simple to try to describe what is normal on the physical level compared to the cognitive, behavioral, emotional level. So getting into those complexities, what is normal on the cognitive level, the behavior level? Are we supposed to normally know these things? I think for a lot of people, we need to be able to question a lot of things. And the problem is, not many people are willing to answer because they may not know or they may not feel comfortable answering them. And that's a problem, not just for the neurodiverse community, but for society. We need to be able to explore the why. The why is so important these days. And we don't have enough people comfortable with confronting that. Does that help?
You know, probably the best example of that's in the face of everyone nationally is all this, the national assault on diversity, equity, and inclusion now. It's really indicative of people being uncomfortable with information they do not know and they don't have. And in a lot of cases, unfortunately, they don't even want it because what they consider to be normal America is now being interrupted or disrupted with information that was never taught to the masses. So in the same spirit, when we talk about neurodivergency, there's a massive misinformation out there as well. And for the same reasons, people would cling to their own sense of normalcy and therefore make it more difficult for persons who process information differently to melt into the general environment or climate in an inclusive and equitable way.
The more
So,
people are willing to step outside their comfort bubble or comfort zone,
absolutely.
for the simple purpose of doing activities, the more they're able to look at things from a new perspective and explore the why, or be better prepared or equipped to handle new information, or acknowledge that some of the previous information they may have is misinformation.
Yes. So let's make it kind of direct. I know there were a lot of questions that were thrown at you about your experience, and it seemed clear that the attendees want to tap into the values of your experiences and successes you've had. So this maybe be our last question here is, have you ever been in a situation that made you feel like you were not normal? And what was it like? How do you feel and how would you feel if you experienced that every day?
Well, that's the thing. I did every day for my entire childhood. I never fit in. Everything I said blew up in my face. I messed up. But there are things I didn't do then that I do now to try to fix that. And one of the first is trying to learn those new things, trying to question everything, asking for help, et cetera, et cetera. But I can tell you this. There have been at least 3 times in my life where I contemplated ending it because I was so depressed, felt worthless, and felt like there was no good or good people. But good people helped me. There were good people willing to question, to ask the why, to learn new things. My mother, my coaches, my teachers, people in the community. Like I said, there are good people out there. You just maybe haven't met them yet, but those good people, they gave me a reason to keep moving forward. They helped me find value. And it's why I continuously seek to be of value to others, because those people found value in me. One of the hardest things to do is to ask for help. But when I did, when I tried asking or tried explaining what I was going through, people were willing to listen. People were willing to talk to me. I have been at rock bottom and I've been pulled out more than once, but that's why I know that other people can be pulled up too. You're not meant to be an independent creature. You need other people, and other people need you. That's why you're part of this ecosystem. And it's why your life has meaning, not just to others, but to yourself. That I can promise you. You matter. You are important. If you don't feel it right now, it's just because you haven't found it yet, or someone hasn't helped you. But you will find it, and you will find happiness. That's happiness.
And so it is for all the attendees. I would encourage you all to begin your network if you don't have one, even today. And you matter to each other, and you matter to our society. And we want to thank Mr. Eren Niederhoffer for his, again,
my mother's attendance.
Oh, Denver, that's right. I'm sorry, Mr. Denver Niederhoffer, and and his especially motivating and educational engagement with you all. And again, you were at the session, Graduating from College, Succeeding in Employment, and the Importance of Community Engagement at the 2023 Neurodiversity Summit, Wired for Success. So thank you for attending. And from this point, we go to a 15-minute break. And we look forward to you all joining, coming back for the rest of the summit. And with that, we would say have a great rest of the summit. And we look forward to more engagement with you shortly.
Good luck to all of you. And don't hesitate to reach out by email if you have further questions. We are here to help you.
Okay. All right. Thank you all, and we will end at this time.
Woo.